Tonight, towers in the sky.
You're looking at each structure to be the size of the Seattle Space Needle.
Plans to build dozens of windmills more than twice the size of Montana's tallest building lead to a giant-sized debate. We'll tell you where. And from big towers to Bigfoot.
It's been really cool just to see the support it's gotten here.
Why Sasquatch was spotted roaming the streets of Joliet.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Good evening, and thanks for wrapping up your week with us. I'm Keagan Harsha. We'll get to those stories in just a minute, but we begin tonight by turning our eyes to the skies. Severe weather is moving into parts of our region. Check out these dark and ominous clouds from Lewistown this afternoon. And further north, a funnel cloud was even spotted up along the High Line in Toole County. That's near Shelby. Watches and warnings are popping up across the area as Mother Nature is active, to say the least. With the very latest and what you can expect, here's meteorologist Jason Stiff.
Yeah, parts of Montana and some parts of Wyoming already getting some strong to severe thunderstorms. Not so much in southeastern Montana, almost completely devoid of clouds, but that is not the case the further west you go. First, right along the I-90 corridor, we have one severe thunderstorm warning out until 6:15 for this thunderstorm center just south of Reed Point. The potential of golf ball sized hail and 60-mile-an-hour wind. Now, this storm cell is moving to the east at 25 miles an hour. Then we head further to the north, another severe thunderstorm warning also lasts until 6:15 because of this storm that is just to the east of Broadville. And this does not include the city of Billings itself, but we have the potential for some more thunderstorms later on tonight. And looking further to the north and east, Petroleum County and Garfield County, a line of showers and thunderstorms, so some active weather, and we are far from done with all of it. Our 7-day forecast coming up.
Well, 3 years ago today was also a wild weather day as south central Montana was flipped upside down by historic flooding. We all remember this scene. Several rivers jumped their banks over the course of several days, ripping homes from riverbanks, destroying roads, even burying much of Red Lodge underwater. Yellowstone National Park was evacuated, and the Montana National Guard had to lift people to safety. Well, fast forward 3 years to today, many bridges and roads, especially in Montana's backcountry, are still awaiting repairs. There has been some major progress, though, including this milestone just yesterday as the new bridge to Woodbine Falls opened to hikers almost 3 years to the day after it was destroyed.
The bridge is so beautiful. I love bridges anyway. And the trail was very well maintained. We saw where they had just recently cut some trees down.
It was beautiful, definitely brand new. I'm happy they finally were able to get it rebuilt. There's a lot of bridges that got destroyed when the flooding happened in 2020.
This new bridge sits higher above the water than the old one did. The impact of the floods was also financial. $46 million in public assistance, $13 million in federal loans, and hundreds of millions of dollars in lost revenue to businesses all around the state. Well, from floods to fires, as another wildfire season approaches, President Trump signs a wildfire reform bill into law, spearheaded by none other than Montana freshman Senator Tim Sheehy. The Aerial Firefighting Enhancement Act strengthens wildfire suppression fleets by allowing commercial firefighting companies to purchase excess military planes and plane parts to fight wildfires. Sheehy is the only first-year senator so far to have a bill passed through both chambers of Congress and then have it signed into law by the president. That bill signing also coincides with the president issuing an executive order consolidating wildland fire response programs. It's the end of an era, but the beginning of a new one for Miles City as demolition has now begun on that city's fire station. Problems for the current station began 7 years ago as the building was deemed unsafe by inspectors. Major issues with that station included a sinking foundation, rotting wood framing, and moldy insulation. In 2023, voters approved a $3.9 million bond to rebuild the new station, and that process has now begun. During the rebuild, Miles City Fire Rescue is going to be operating out of a different location at 1084 U.S. Highway 12 East. Eastern Montana may not be home to any skyscrapers, but we could soon see several structures just as tall as plans are in the works to build a massive wind farm southwest of Glendive. Now, at 575 feet tall, each turbine would stand roughly as high as Seattle's Space Needle and would be more than twice the size of Montana's tallest building in the First Interstate Bank in Billings. And as our David J. found out, it's just that, the scope and size of the project, that has many concerned.
The tallest building in Montana is 272 feet, and that's the first interstate bank in downtown Billings.
At 272 feet tall, it's hard to imagine many structures in Montana taller than this one, let alone 70 to 100 of them, and in the most rural part of the state. But that's what's proposed about 20 miles southwest of Glendive.
These turbines that are projected for our county will actually be the size, more or less, of the Seattle Space Needle.
Former Montana State Senator Rick Holden is among the many with concerns. Slated to break ground in 2026, the Glendive Wind Project would have a capacity of producing approximately 800 megawatts of clean, renewable energy, but Holden says at a cost.
When you look at the fiberglass shards, flakes, and strands that blow off the fiberglass blades, they blow all the way across the country. And when that happens, it contaminates our soil and our crops.
But Ross Feehan of Next Era Energy disagrees and says there are no fiberglass shreds during normal operation. He highlights the potential economic impacts, which include an estimated $5 million in annual economic activity over 30 years of the project. Feehan is concerned by a proposal before the planning board that would limit the height of turbines that he says would essentially kill the project. Don Laney, executive director for the Miles City Area Chamber of Commerce, has already seen the economic benefits of the Clearwater Wind Project in his county, where up to 300 windmills are being constructed.
It's imperative that we find ways to make it, because it's difficult to bring in large industry here.
The planning board isn't expected to make a recommendation to the county commissioners for at least a month, and is considering at least three possibilities: expand regulations, less broad regulations, or no zoning that would affect windmills. Regardless, it's a decision many will be closely watching.
If you put these strict regulations in place, you are handcuffing our economy in Dawson County.
We got to take things in our own hands to protect our livelihood.
In Glendive, David J., MTN News.
Warrior Women for Justice are taking a stand, bringing together families, advocates, and leaders, all to confront the crisis of missing and murdered Indigenous people in Montana and beyond. Now, nationwide, thousands of Indigenous people are reported missing each year, a disproportionate crisis that affects men, women, and youth across many communities. At a conference in Billings this week, there was more than a gathering. It was a call for justice, a push for accountability, and a chance to be heard.
We're trying to somehow address it so that we can move forward, because otherwise we stay stuck, and we've been stuck for a long time, I feel like, in Indian country. And I feel like it's either we can sit here and we can say, why doesn't the tribal council do something? Why don't the police do something? Why don't BIA do something? Why don't Indian Health Service do something? Why don't we do something? So that's what we're doing here.
That conference took place between yesterday and today at the Eagle Seeker Community Center, and it covered a lot of topics like grief and healing, search and rescue strategies, and also community-driven solutions. The real estate market across the nation is reportedly down right now, but it's actually quite the opposite here in Billings. According to Realtor.com, the median listing price for Billings in May was $440,000, while the median sold price came in right around $364,000. Tonight, our Hannah Pettiferi reports on when is the best time to buy and what exactly is driving the market.
The market is always changing.
688.
So we have a lot more inventory on the market right now.
That's the number of single-family homes on the market in Yellowstone County.
Active listings are up 10.8% compared to last month.
Realtors seeing more options for buyers. Billy Parrott, president of Billings Association of Realtors, says the median sales price in May was $370,000.
That's down 5.9% from last year.
And in Billings,
we are a little bit on the less expensive side as far as affordability compared to like Missoula and Bozeman.
So when is the best time to buy or sell? Jason Leninger, a broker, saying spring is the hottest time to list.
Once the grass gets green, middle of May, early part of June is statistically the highest net volume for sellers.
And with the 7% interest rate, Jason says it can cause people to hesitate.
If the interest rates do go down a little bit, that's going to bring an influx of people entering the market, which is great for those that want to buy and sell something.
Median days on the market is 17 days up, 17.2% from last month.
Nationally, in some states, we're seeing more of that 30-day on the market. So 17 to me is pretty good. Still, it still shows that it's a strong market.
Sellers still getting top dollar after listing their home.
Sellers are still getting 98.4% of their list price, so they're still getting pretty close to list, which is a good sign.
Billy and Jason highlighting what Billings has to offer.
Billings as a whole is very diverse in its economy, from the oil refineries to the education corridor to the hospitals.
In Billings, Hannah Pettiferry, MTN News.
Yellowstone County Elections Administrator Ginger Aldrich is stepping down from her position at the end of the month. Aldrich took over that position from Brett Rutherford after the 2022 elections. She says she's accepted the position as chief legal counsel to the Senate of a small island nation, but doesn't say exactly where. Aldrich does say that working with the people of Yellowstone County, her hometown, has been a wonderful experience, and she hopes to return to Billings in a few years. Just like last time, Kevin Gillen, Yellowstone County's retired deputy county attorney, will step in the interim. Well, for the first time in 5 years, the July 4th fireworks show in Billings is returning to Castle Rock Park. Celebrate Freedom is returning to its original location after having to move to Metro Park during the COVID pandemic. This year's event begins at 4 o'clock in the afternoon with live music, family fun, and a whole lot of food trucks. The much anticipated fireworks will then begin at dark. Parking, we're told, is available in residential areas, while Harvest Church and Skyview High School will also have shuttle services available.